They said money brings freedom, but for Tessie, it became a cage of gold. One lined with secrets she never imagined. It started with whispers. At first, she thought it was her mind playing tricks on her. Late at night, while lying on the enormous silk bed in Chief's mansion, she'd hear muffled chanting somewhere deep within the house. The sound was faint, almost like a hum, a melody of voices carrying a language she couldn't understand. She'd sit up, straining to listen, but the moment she did, silence would swallow the house whole again. Days turned into weeks, and Tessie's life became a routine of disgust and control. Every morning, the cook would present her breakfast, Chief's feces. She ate it, tears mixing with the bitter metallic taste. Every single day, the ritual repeated, her stomach churning as she forced down the slimy organ while Chief watched with calm satisfaction. But Chief wasn't just strict. He was filthy. The man she once admired for his wealth was nothing like the image he projected. He'd go 3 days without bathing, his skin sleek with sweat, his clothes wrinkled and stained. The stench in their bedroom became unbearable. Even worse, he often forgot to flush the toilet or clean up after himself, leaving the house staff scurrying behind him like terrified mice. Still, none of them dared complain. Chief's health, however, was shocking. Tessie had thought marrying an older man meant she would inherit his wealth when he died. But instead of growing old and weak, Chief seemed to grow stronger. His once sagging skin tightened, his back straightened, his steps became lighter. While Tessie withered, pale, weak, and constantly nauseous. And the staff, they treated him like a god. No one looked him in the eye, and when he passed through the hallway, servants pressed themselves against the wall like prisoners. One night, Tessie woke up to the chanting again, louder this time. She slipped out of bed, tiptoeing across the marble floor, following the sound. It led her to a locked door at the end of a dimly lit hallway. She bent down and peered through the keyhole. What she saw made her heart stop. Chief sat cross-legged in a circle of candles, his body covered in white chalk markings. Tessie gasped, stumbling back. The sound of her movement was enough. The chanting stopped. Who's there? A voice boomed. She bolted back to their bedroom. Her heart pounding so loudly it drowned out everything else. She dove under the covers, pretending to be asleep as Chief entered moments later. He didn't say a word. He simply stood over her for what felt like hours, his shadow stretching across the room. The next morning, a housemaid cornered her in the hallway. "Madam, for your own good, stop asking questions." Tessie's heart raced. "What are you talking about?" she whispered. "You're not his wife. You're his sacrifice." Before Tessie could respond, the driver backed at the maid to get back to work and ushered Tessie into the waiting car. They were going shopping, or at least that's what Chief told her. In truth, every outing was tightly controlled. She couldn't go anywhere without a driver. Every purchase had to be approved by Chief, a system designed to remind her she owned nothing. Her friends, blissfully unaware, still flooded her DMs with messages like, "Girl, you're living the dream. You're a queen now." Tessie would stare at those messages with tears in her eyes. She couldn't tell them the truth. She couldn't tell them she was living in a mansion that smelled like death, married to a man who never bathed, and bound by a spiritual oath that made living impossible. One morning, while Chief was away on business, Tessie made her move. She packed a bag, slipped on plain clothes, and bribed the housemaid to distract the guards. But just as she reached the back gate, strong hands grabbed her from behind. The driver dragged her back into the house like she was a rag doll, his face void of emotion. When Chief returned that evening, his reaction was terrifying. He didn't shout. He didn't raise his voice. He simply told the guards to lock Tessie in a windowless room on the top floor. She spent 3 days without food or water, her body weak and trembling. On the second day, a servant entered, carrying a silver plate. Even in punishment, even starving and terrified, she was forced to eat it. By the time they let her out, Tessie was too weak to walk. The whispers had become a constant. At first, they came only at night, but now, she could hear them even in the daytime, soft, hissing voices that seemed to echo from the walls, calling her name, Tessie. Tessie. She started avoiding mirrors because sometimes, she thought she saw someone, or something else staring back at her, and then one morning, while wandering the mansion in a haze of exhaustion, Tessie stumbled upon a locked door in the east wing. She'd seen it before but had never dared to open it. This time, something inside her snapped. She searched through the drawers in Chief's study until she found a heavy brass key. Her hands shook as she unlocked the door. The smell hit her first. It was pungent, rotten, almost unbearable. Inside, the room was lined with photos. Women's faces. Dozens of them. All beautiful, all young, all with expressions that mirrored Tessie's own terror. Some photos had notes beneath them, dates, and missing persons flyers. Her stomach churned as she stumbled backward. That's when she noticed something else, a large book placed on an altar in the center of the room. The pages were yellowed and covered in strange symbols. She flipped through it with trembling hands, her heart pounding louder with every word she deciphered. The book told a story. Chief wasn't just a wealthy man. He was a man who had sold his soul. Every wife he took was bound to him through a ritual. And the feces she was eating, they were offerings. Offerings that kept him young, rich, and untouchable, while draining the life out of her. Tessie dropped the book and ran, tears streaming down her face. But she didn't make it far. Chief was standing at the door, looking for something. He asked, his voice calm, almost amused. Tessie froze. Chief stepped closer, his towering frame blocking her only way out. "You weren't supposed to see this room yet." I want to go home," she whispered, her voice breaking. Chief tilted his head, smiling faintly. "This is your home. Forever. You swore an oath before the gods, Tessie. You can't leave." That night, Tessie was dragged to the same ritual room she'd spied on weeks before. The men in red robes returned, chanting in that same haunting language. Candles flickered, casting shadows that danced on the walls. Chief stood in the center of it all, his face painted with white chalk markings, his eyes glowing unnaturally bright. Tessie was forced to kneel, her wrist bound tightly behind her back. Tears streamed down her face as the chanting grew louder, the rhythm quickening, pulsing through the floor. "Tonight," Chief's deep voice boomed, "you complete my covenant. You thought you could outsmart me, Tessie," he whispered. "You thought you could run, but you were chosen for this." The ritual went on for hours. Tessie's body felt like it was on fire as strange markings were painted onto her skin. She could feel something inside her draining, like her soul was being siphoned out piece by piece. When it was over, Tessie lay on the cold marble floor, barely breathing. Chief stood over her, looking healthier than ever. "Rest now," he said softly. "You've done your part." And with that, Tessie's world faded to black. Weeks later, a lavish party was held at Chief's mansion. The city's richest and most powerful gathered to celebrate his new marriage. He walked through the crowd, arm in arm with a young, stunning woman, smiling like a king. Guests whispered about how youthful he looked, how powerful his presence had become. Upstairs, in the hidden room Tessie had discovered, her photo now hung among the others. Her terrified eyes stared out from the frame, a silent warning to anyone who dared follow in her footsteps. Thanks for watching and don't forget to give me a follow, it's free.